3 to 4 states now continue to account for more than 60% of the COVID cases. The urban centers remain the focus of the spread. Should we be concerned in that sense that it is possible that in these areas, in a Mumbai, in a Delhi, in a Tamil Nadu, there is community spread? Should we be concerned that and get used to the fact that there may be community spread out there?
So, in coronavirus situations, the capacity to find cases and isolate them and then find as many contacts as possible and isolate them remains at the heart of the control effort. Some people have suggested that when numbers are high, you could dispense with the contact tracing and just do isolation of cases. I understand that logic, but I would stress that actually the success of interrupting transmission and stopping the spread really does come from the contact tracing, at least as much as from the identification and isolation of cases. So I would encourage efforts to continue doing contact tracing as much as possible, even when you've got high levels of transmission. I do understand from looking at the data that you have much higher levels of COVID being reported from certain states. And therefore the classification of the kind of transmission in these high level states seems to be a different one. Personally, I think the decision as to whether or not you use the label of community transmission is something that can only be made by the officials of the government of India. From my own perspective, I do want everybody to appreciate that it really will be important over the next few weeks and I believe months to continue to focus on doing everything possible to interrupt transmission, whether it is just localized or more broad in the community. That has to be the focus of everything that's being done.
So in a sense, we are going back to the tracing, testing, quarantine system. We have increased testing in India, Dr. Nabarro. We are now testing, what, 200,000 a day, which is much higher than what it was earlier, much less perhaps compared to certain other countries in the West. Do you believe it's enough, the level of testing now in India for a country of 1.38 billion people?
Of course, in India, to scale up testing, even to the level you're at the moment, is an extraordinary achievement. And I want to repeat that, an extraordinary achievement. This is a difficult test to do. It involves multiple reagents, and you have to do it in a laboratory that's quite well developed. Now, yes, it would be a good idea to continue to build up your testing capacity so that you can get a more granular impression of where the virus is. But at the same time, I believe that with the current level of testing, you can continue to do an awful lot. So I don't want to prescribe an increase in testing. Instead, I want to ask that you continue to adopt this comprehensive approach of people interrupting transmission and then suppressing outbreaks. And that, I believe, gives you the best chance of continuing what you're doing at the moment, I think, well, which is getting ahead of the virus. And there will be fluctuations and some upsets about numbers of cases, but overall I have the impression that you are really keeping at least abreast of the virus if you're not ahead of it.
Let me come, Dr. Nabarro, to 5 fears that perhaps I am going to reflect in India. The first fear is that the world is threatened with a second wave, Dr. Nabarro. There are fears of a resurgence in China, South Korea, Australia. We believe there are about 30 countries, including some European countries, that are seeing a sudden increase in spurt in cases in the last week or 2 weeks. Should we believe a second wave is upon us, or is this simply a consequence of the unlocking of certain countries at the moment?
Well, this is where I'm possibly going to be seen to be a bit of a pessimist. You see, we talk about first waves, second waves, and so on, when we're focusing on influenza pandemics, and they have a very particular periodicity to them. This is a coronavirus pandemic. The first one that we've ever known. And with coronavirus, you get outbreaks of the disease that start as soon as you've got people with the virus. They're very focal. And so you get successive and continuous outbreaks occurring. If you've got movement restricted, then these outbreaks tend to be quite small. Sometimes they don't even build up at all. If you've got lots of movement, the outbreaks can build up quite quickly and become large. So I'm saying there will be a continuous threat of recurrence of outbreaks as movement starts to increase. This is the normal condition we have to face.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.